Welcome back to DeadWax.
Welcome to DeadWax.
Today we have a very special guest, Dennis Herring. Dennis is a record producer, engineer, mixer, musician. He's produced for Hives, Elvis Costello, Counting Crows, Modest Mouse. He's, before that, studio musician, played guitar with Madonna and so many other amazing artists. Has owned multiple recording studios, DTLA in Los Angeles and Sweet Tea Recording in Oxford, Mississippi. He's won 2 Grammys, one for Best Blues Album for Blues Singer and Best Pop Contemporary Gospel Album for If I Left the Zoo. Let's jump right in. Dennis, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Today we're going to listen to Modest Mouse and talk about the song Float On. Here we go. The hat.
I love that delay on the guitar.
I ran my mouth off a bit too much. What did I say? Well, you just laughed it off. It was all okay.
That guitar is so beautiful.
Cool riff.
And we'll all float on, okay. And we'll all float on, okay. And we'll all float on, okay.
What a song. What a recording.
What a performance.
Yes.
Yes.
The vocal performance
Oh, my God.
is just insane.
That guy's good.
Oh, he's so good.
Okay, things that stood out to me. I'm just
Yeah.
going to list.
Yeah.
I'm just going to list them off. The weird notes in the second verse.
Yeah.
The vocal performance to me is the most obvious thing that is just undeniably like grabs you by the lapel and says, "Listen to this." The drum beat, the hat, the sloshy hat that happens the entire song.
Yeah. Every backbeat.
Every backbeat is a sloshy hat. Okay, it sounds like there's a story there. The delay.
Yep.
The delay on the guitar, that main guitar, and then on the vocal at times. Mm-hmm. And then during the breaks, there are those 2 moments. One is in the intro and the other's in the middle of the song before like the last chorus, where we're in a new space and there's like some drum samples.
Yeah.
And some like weird atmospheric thing happening.
Yeah, there's a story about that.
Okay. Those are my most notable. That, and then the other thing that I realized when I got to the end of the song is like, I haven't thought about the chords once.
Yeah.
Which to me is like, if you can do that to me, you're doing something right.
Interesting.
Yes.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So how did this happen? Like, can you just back up and like, how did this happen? Because this is such a beautiful recording. What happened here?
Well, and obviously the engineer, Jakir King.
Oh,
Gets a
Yeah.
lot of credit.
Oh God, he's
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah, Jakir's great.
Did you guys mix this together? Did you? You
we
mixed it
mixed
together.
this together, yeah.
Yeah.
But he recorded it all, so and
Yes.
he was the recording engineer.
Yes.
He's such a creative engineer. His
Yeah.
sounds are so interesting and different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so we had, it was funny because I had passed on doing this album with the band because my wife was going to have a baby, our first baby. And it would have happened right in the middle of the record. So I said, no, I can't do it. I got to be 100% available, you know. I was psyched about the baby. And so they started the record with 2 other producers. And from what I gather, about day 3, there was a fist fight. And the whole thing blew up. And I get this call, would you consider it? Because now we're really stuck, you know. And my wife kind of goes, you know, you're just going to sit around and be boring anyway. So why don't you do it and just make sure you can get off when it's time to go to the hospital and stuff. I go, okay. So I go, okay, I'll do it. And I did it and said, yeah. But then they showed up, just 3 people. There was no drummer. And I'm kind of like, okay. And they get gear out. They have drums in there, this van and everything. But we start to set up, and I go, so who's the drummer? They go, here's the thing, you know, he he's been committed to like a mental facility because of this fight and all this stuff that went down. It was very traumatic, and he currently can't
Wait, that's
play
insane.
with us.
Because of the fight with the people who were supposed to produce the record,
As I understood it, yeah,
he
it
was
just-
committed to a mental
Well,
institution.
he was like a sensitive guy. I mean,
Wow.
on the next album, he played on everything. It was great. But so this record, he shows up and didn't. He didn't show
So who
up.
played drums?
That was the thing. So I go, okay, day one, the record company, the A&R guy is there at my studio in Mississippi, and there's no drummer. And so I go, what are y'all thinking? You know, like, I go, well, we can get a drummer, you know, I guess, I said. And Isaac goes, I know some great drummers. Don't worry about it. I'll get a great drummer. I go, who you got in mind? He goes, I got this guy, Benjamin Weichel, who played in really some cool band, called Helio Sequence in the
Okay.
Northwest. And I knew of them. And I go, oh, that guy's great. And he goes, yeah, let me call him. I'll get him to come play. And so he got there in a couple days. And meanwhile, they start kind of playing me the songs they had and stuff. But as they played me these little songs they had without a drummer, I got this idea that you could make. At that time, there wasn't really an alt record that had dance beats. That really was kind of squared up that way, where you could just dance to some really super duper alt song like Modest Mouse.
Yeah.
And they certainly had made records like that. But I got real psyched about the ability to do that. And so by the time Benjamin came, I was starting to hear things we could do that with. And Benjamin liked to program. He didn't like to play to a click. He liked to program his own click and make little beats. If you listen to the end of Float On,
Yeah.
you can hear the little beat he had programmed to play to.
Right.
But as we started trying to record
Wait, sorry,
songs,
can we listen to that? So this is the
Yeah.
beat he wanted to play to?
I'll float on, alright.
Yeah.
You worry, we'll all float on.
Yeah.
So it just gives him a feel that he can then play to, and it helps
Yeah.
inform the pace and kind of rhythm and feel
And
of
it's
the
less
record.
square than a click. Like he's got places he can ebb and flow better.
Yes, right.
It got to where a lot of drummers would think more like that. And so Benjamin did that, but I started to notice as soon as he and I started working on tracks together, you could put his beat in there that he had programmed, and it was cool with his drumming. It
Yeah.
made like a certain sound.
Yeah.
So if you listen pretty much the whole record, it's drums and a programmed thing together all the time.
What was
Cool.
he using for the beats? Is it a drum machine?
I forget. Yeah, he had some drum machine. I don't remember what it was.
Okay.
But like...
And that's a different thing you're talking about than what's in the intro of the song and what's in the middle of the song. That's
the
like
middle
a
of the song's
different-
different.
That's a different
That's a
program.
different
This
thing.
bit.
Yeah, that's different. And there's a reason that's different.
What's the reason?
Well, there was... let me say this one other thing about the beat of the song.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
The other thing is I really had to sit around with these guys, and they kind of had fragments of songs, but there was no grooves. I started to hear a real way to approach these grooves. I guess I said that. But like a huge beat record to me, well, there were two. One is the B-52's Mesopotamia, which is a really odd, it was an unsuccessful B-52's record, but it was produced by David Byrne, and it's Chris and Tina from the Talking Heads are the bass player and drummer. And they had a band then called Tom Tom Club, and that had really cool beats.
What you gonna do when you get out of jail? I'm gonna have some fun. What do you consider fun? Fun, natural fun.
And they did that trip with B-52s, and then it was called, they made this album and nobody bought it. But it was like, I loved the grooves on that record, and I kept thinking about that as Isaac would play me these Modest Mouse songs. And another record I loved that way was The Game by Queen.
Oof.
It's like, I think they did that with Mac, who was like a dance producer in Germany. And The Game has a couple hits on it or something. But if you go back and listen to The Game, nearly every song has open hi-hat with the snare.
Whoa.
Can we listen? Can
Yeah.
we? Can we hear? Can we
Yeah,
hear?
check that out.
Swirl it down the street with the brim pulled way down low.
That's like the hit.
Ain't no sound but the
But then check out go to others.
I don't wanna feel like a stranger. 'Cause I'd rather stay.
Yeah. Even, I think the song, The Game, check that one out.
Play the game.
Yeah.
Play the game. Everybody play the
It's like every beat. Somebody liked that. And I thought I was fascinated by that.
That's such a cool detail to steal.
When I was a kid, I was really fascinated by that, I thought, oh, that's a cool thing to do with drums. And then I never heard anybody do it after that.
So you told that drummer, hey, try this.
Yeah, I wanted to try it in lots of the songs, and then I know it stuck in Float. Float On's one where it really stuck.
Wow.
I mean, you could just, it's just a certain sound, but it works really good with those songs.
That's so cool.
You know what's so funny about that for me? This is like full circle because like what you're talking about, this is done in like EDM and dance production in 2020s. Basically, for every snare has a hi-hat layer on it to make it brighter and make it like bigger and louder.
Yeah.
But you were doing that 20 years before EDM was doing it acoustically. That's cool.
And I was thinking about it from the perspective of dance. It's just this notion of like, I mean, I had always been an alternative kind of producer. And so, you're always thinking about these ways, how do I get more people to hear Camper Van Beethoven? How do I get the Hives across a top 40 barrier? Like what are those elements? And still keep the artist cool. It's not like you just want to suddenly do, a Taylor Swift song with some alt artist and then it works, it's pop hit.
Right.
It's like the idea of getting cool music out to kind of, mom's vacuuming. That quality. I'm always thinking about that and always sitting around with the music thinking about that and playing with what communicates and what doesn't and stuff like that. So it's like
brilliant, Dennis.
But to make Asses Move to Modest Mouse, do you see what I mean? If you think about that fundamentally, that artist had everything but that.
Totally. Wow. Can we listen to the intro of that song again with that in mind? Because that changes my perspective of the song. Let's listen to how the song starts.
It's 4 on the floor, too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's a dance song.
Oh, yeah.
You just turn them into like a dance. I mean, that's such a genius way to sort of improve accessibility in a way that's not cheesy. It's
Right.
you just made it feel amazing. So it gets through the brain to the body, and then people, before they know it, are just dancing and they like it.
It's the spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down.
Oh my God.
And so there's the sugar. And then the medicine is Isaac.
I'm gonna go add hi-hats to all my snares on my album that's about to come out.
And it's one thing when you do it, say now, like when a Parker Robinson or somebody is making a snare sound like that. But there's still going to be lots of bright movement information.
Yeah.
But I always thought about the Queen example is there wasn't much hi-hat. Otherwise, it was real straight. But then, you know what I mean? He'd open up on those backbeats.
Yeah.
And you go, nobody opens the snare. I mean, Charlie Watts couldn't have been more opposite, right? Where Charlie Watts is picking the hi-hat up when he hits the snare.
Yes, right.
And Keltner, that crowd all did that. So this is like the opposite.
Totally.
Right? And so it really speaks when you don't have other bright information zooming out from the drums around it, too.
Totally.
So yeah,
that is wild.
And it feels it's more so there's a lot of elements. Like if I were just listening to this song, I wouldn't have said this is a dance song. But now that I'm hearing you say that, there's a lot of elements that are stolen from dance music that are now in here, but the instrumentation is indie rock. And then the sort of traditions and production ideas are dance, and it's that fusion of those two disparate concepts that makes it sound, in my opinion, like so interesting and different than everything else.
Was the band into that idea from the get-go, or did they take some convincing?
No, I think day one it was pretty hectic, because they'd had a blowout, with their previous start of their record. And so here they are showing up, and the drummer's not there. The A&R guy is in there who wants to hear songs, and they wouldn't send him songs. And it's like, because they didn't have any, it turned out. It was like this whole kind of hecticness, which sort of can follow certain artists around.
Yeah.
And let's say they might be one like that.
Yeah.
And so there's this hecticness. So I go, why don't we just kind of set up and just play me whatever you're what do you got? You know, and they'd play me 4 bars or something, and Isaac would play me something acoustic, and it was like that. And I can remember the A&R guy sitting out there with us, and it felt very, you know,
Tense.
yeah, like they were just on display. Like, you better show us what you got or else feeling, you know.
Yeah.
Couldn't help but be that moment. And Isaac got real frustrated. He played 4 or 5 songs, and he got rah, 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 and goes out in the parking lot. I had this big parking lot at that studio in Mississippi. And I go, man, he doesn't realize this could be great. I was already hearing, I go, there's a way to make beats go under this that would be amazing, I think.
Yeah.
And as long as he'll work with me on song, they're really odd songs structurally.
Yeah.
And that was the other thing we had to work on a lot in that record.
Did
And
you
like-
make them more normal, the forms?
Oh, I'd hate to think about it that way.
Did you fix them?
No, like even Float On, you know, we didn't do that till we'd sort of finished the record, and then we recorded 2 more songs, and Float On was one of them. But like even Float On, like, it played in its original way, that section that works as the chorus, the part where it kind of mind expands and there's all these backgrounds and everything. It's like that was some little part at the end. That was their ending.
Wow.
And so
You're like, no, guys,
but
that's the chorus.
Yeah, but you wouldn't say chorus, but you'd go, I think we could hear that part more. That's a cool part, you know, and you'd work that up. Well, I'd always worked with alt indie bands, and so you wouldn't.
If you said that's your chorus, they'd be like, no. But if
It
you
might, yeah.
yeah,
But like by then, I'd built up real trust with Isaac. I remember with Float On, he played it and he goes, "What do you want to do with this one?" By then, he really had a lot of trust in me, like for structure and for kind of dynamics. Like,
I have so many questions about that. So I'm curious what this sounded like when they played the song for you. Like, for example, this electric guitar riff that's so hot.
yeah, he had that riff.
He had the riff
Oh, that one, yeah.
on electric
That was
guitar.
Dan.
Yeah.
The like keyboard and rhythm guitar guy.
Okay.
And he had that, and Isaac had the main riff.
Had
Bum,
the
bum, bam. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
okay,
Oh,
so
yeah.
that was like a part of it.
Oh yeah.
Okay, and then
Producing a band like Modest Mouse, and specifically producing Modest Mouse, has always been sort of a reductive affair.
yeah,
Not really Dennis additive.
Yes.
Not very often. It's about kind of, whoa, there's a whole bunch of cool shit. How can we focus this
yes,
to where I start to really get it? Like, I'm just like a simple guy from a small town in Mississippi, and you guys sound smarter than me, but I think if we mess with this, I can understand that. I could get into this.
Yeah.
You know? So I think like that, you know.
cool. Okay, so the other interesting thing is, you know, you called it a chorus, and then Dennis was like, well, we wouldn't want to think of it as a chorus, and I think of it as a chorus too. But what's interesting
It
about
is the
this,
chorus for sure.
I mean, what's interesting about the
That's
chorus
fair.
is the big part of the song is the verse, and then the chorus
Yeah.
comes down. So it is different. It's like not your traditional.
Wait, what
pop
do you mean
chorus.
by that?
Well, listen.
Yeah,
so
it's a drop. The chorus drops.
So here's the verse. That riff is like a post-chorus. This is the big part of the song. Huge.
Oh, I think of this as a verse. That doesn't sound like the big part of the song.
I
to
agree.
me.
This is the verse. I think of this as the verse too. But then listen to this.
Oh, you mean? Yeah,
Like there's no snares
because of
It's
the
just-
arrangement.
It drops.
Yeah.
The
And
chorus.
the dynamic drops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The chorus comes
So that's
down
a
in energy.
very, very, very. That's a cardinal rule that's being broken.
Exactly.
And yet I thought this part was so cool to make beat function as the chorus, and so that was probably the most. Even just kind of all the producers I learned from and got to work for as a musician, it's this kind of thing where you want to kind of flow like, not like, you want to flow like magma, right? You want to kind of notice what's going great, and then the thing that needs work, you want to take that on. You go, I should help with this, but I should not help with that. I should get out of the way of. When that guy's singing great, you just get out, you hit record. That guy's crazy.
Yeah.
He's really got his own style and does stuff. And so quickly, as we laid it out and they started learning it as a band, you start going, man, I'm going to have to really do a lot of cool stuff to get this chorus to work. Because it's not going to work. I mean, it breaks all the rules. So what do?
Yeah.
Well, that becomes my job.
And did you decide we're just going to record 50 layers of vocals and put them left and right and just like make it a vocal thing? Like, how did you come up with that?
Well, I was excited for there to be harmonies because I go, we got to get the Greek chorus up there, and that's going to make this feel more like a chorus, and also then really digging into kind of that spacey thing, like which is I think Mellotron or something,
right?
That da 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 or whatever keyboard we did that with. That had to be a really big, wide, all-encompassing deal emotionally, right? But like, I remember saying to Isaac, I go, man, let's put some harmonies on this on the float-on section. And he goes, oh yeah, harmonies don't work there. And I go, well, I know, but let's just try some, you know. And I mean, and he went out and started trying stuff, and I never could have made those parts up. I mean, I'm just like, whoa, that is incredible. I remember my guy Clay said, who was sitting and kind of assisting, he's like, what is he singing? I go, I don't know. Just keep going. Keep recording. This guy's doing it right now. This is amazing. You know, like he makes up really, really interesting. He hears harmony in a really cool way.
Can we listen to that?
But he had to be kind of encouraged that it would work, that he should sing on that section. But once he really got to doing it, he liked it, and it was cool. So
here it is. Here are the vocal harmonies.
Yeah, there's some that are like they're becoming unison in like an undisciplined way. Yeah. You know what I mean? If you were arranging it right to the vocal.
Oh yeah.
And then there's some that are not even like really saying notes. They're just like, but it's just this messy mosh of awesomeness.
You mean he's not following the rules of a Bach chorale?
That's exactly what I mean. Yeah.
You know, I'm remembering too that like, we hadn't met before they showed up at my studio, but we had talked on the phone a couple times. And one time I think the second time on the phone was when I was now going to do it, produce, and they were going to come down. And I go, is there anything you're thinking on the record I should get together? Anything you want to do that you haven't done on a record before? And he goes, well, I got these songs that are kind of more acoustic, like banjo. I've been writing some songs on banjo. And then I have songs that are electric. And I said, well, I have this big control room. I'll set up 2 setups. We'll have a setup in the control room where we can just record the banjo songs in the control room with the console. And then I'll have an electric setup out in the recording room. So we did that. I go, anything else? And he goes, yeah. He goes, I want to put horns on some songs. And I go, cool. I go, do you mean like Tower of Power horns? Or do you mean like New Orleans wake horns? He goes, oh, definitely New Orleans wake horns. And so there was this thing that kind of floated around the whole record that was kind of funerally and death and weight.
Yes.
And something he could really balance. He could be in that headspace and not be a bummer at all. Like in his head, that's just life, right?
Yeah.
And Float On encompasses that. Like you'd want those unison vocals to not be tight. You want it to be like a New Orleans wake.
Yeah.
Right? So,
yeah.
But that's what I mean, like to me, this notion of where a producer exerts influences
yes.
or exerts influence, or where you sit back as a producer and a record is happening.
Yeah.
And you just kind of are part of the energy that's keeping it rolling, right? It's like, on the one hand, a lot's got to happen to that section for it to really to correct the problem that I have made to start with, right? But if it's also evaluating as you do stuff. You go, put some harmonies on there, and then you make a rough mix, and you sit and listen to it, and you go, no, we haven't solved. I'm the guy who has to sit there and go, no, I think let's just turn that keyboard. Let's put 2 more reverbs on that keyboard part. Let's make all of this keep going. I go, oh, it works now. Like I hear the song and I go, oh man, it gets to that section and I'm super happy, even though the beat stops.
Yeah.
I'm super happy.
We're going to keep talking to Dennis over on our Patreon. It's free to join to hear the rest of the conversation about Modest Mouse and Float On. So come on over there and you'll hear the rest of the conversation. We'll see you over on our Patreon. Thanks, everybody, for watching.